On July 28, 1998, an ordinary summer afternoon in Ireland turned into one of the country's greatest unsolved mysteries. An 18-year-old law student was walking home. She was less than a minute away from her family's front door. She had survived her exams. She had her whole future ahead of her. And then, she disappeared without leaving behind a single trace. No scream, no struggle, no witnesses who clearly saw what happened, no confirmed forensic evidence. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. More than 27 years later, investigators still don't know exactly what happened to Deirdre Jacob. Her family has never stopped searching. Police have followed thousands of leads. Searches have been carried out across Ireland. The investigation was eventually upgraded from a missing person case to a murder investigation after years passed with no proof that Deirdre was still alive. But despite decades of work, no one has ever been convicted. This is the story of one of Ireland's most haunting disappearances. To understand this mystery, we first have to understand who Deirdre was. Friends described her as intelligent, kind, and responsible. She had recently finished her first year studying law at St. Mary's University in England. During the summer, she had returned to her hometown of Newbridge, County Kildare, to spend time with her family before returning to college. She wasn't someone who took unnecessary risks. She maintained a close relationship with her parents. She had plans for the future. Nothing suggested she would suddenly disappear voluntarily. July 28th started like any other day. That afternoon, Deirdre drove into town to complete a few errands. One of her stops was at her family's business. After finishing there, she began walking back toward her home. It was a route she knew extremely well. She had walked it many times before. Her house was only a short distance away. According to investigators, the last confirmed sighting of Deirdre placed her walking along the road near her home in Newbridge during the afternoon of July 28, 1998. Then, she simply vanished. At first, her family assumed she had been delayed, but as the hours passed, concern quickly turned into panic. When she failed to return home, her parents contacted the Gardaí, Ireland's national police service. An extensive search began almost immediately. Officers searched nearby fields, roads, canals, wooded areas. Neighbors were interviewed. Witnesses were asked to come forward, but nothing explained what had happened to the 18-year-old. No belongings were discovered. No confirmed evidence showed where she had gone after being seen for the last time. It was as though the earth had swallowed her whole, and investigators would soon begin considering a terrifying possibility that Deirdre had not disappeared by choice, that someone had taken her. As the days turned into weeks, investigators faced a frightening reality. There was still no sign of Deirdre Jacob, no confirmed sightings, no ransom demand, no activity on her bank accounts, no evidence that she had chosen to leave her life behind. The investigation quickly became one of the largest missing person inquiries in Ireland. Over the years, Gardaí interviewed thousands of witnesses and followed thousands of investigative leads. Despite those efforts, every promising lead eventually reached a dead end. Then, as more time passed without any proof that Deirdre was alive, investigators made a major decision. In 2018, the case was officially reclassified as a murder investigation. Police explained that after reviewing all of the available evidence, there was no indication that Deirdre had survived after the day she disappeared. For her family, Hearing those words was devastating. Although they had feared the worst for years, officially treating the case as murder made the loss feel painfully real. As detectives reviewed the case, one particular name continued to surface: Larry Murphy. Murphy is a convicted rapist who was later imprisoned for the kidnapping, rape, and attempted murder of another young woman in Ireland. Because of similarities between his known crimes and several unsolved disappearances, Gardaí identified him as a person of interest in Deirdre Jacob's case. However, it is extremely important to understand one fact: Larry Murphy has never been charged with Deirdre Jacob's disappearance or murder. Investigators have questioned him over the years. Evidence was submitted to Ireland's Director of Public Prosecutions, but prosecutors concluded there was insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against him in relation to Deirdre's case. Despite that decision, investigators never completely abandoned this line of inquiry. Several searches were carried out in County Wicklow and surrounding areas after new information emerged. Specialist forensic teams excavated woodland, fields, and remote locations that investigators believed could contain evidence. One of the largest searches began in 2021. Officers, forensic archaeologists, and technical experts carefully searched woodland near the Kildare-Wicklow border. Weeks of excavation followed. Nothing connected to Deirdre was recovered. Then, in 2026, the investigation took another dramatic turn. Gardaí launched a fresh excavation at a quarry near the Wicklow-Kildare border. The operation followed new intelligence reviewed by the Garda Serious Crime Review Team. Authorities stated they were searching for items of evidential value related to both Deirdre Jacob and another missing woman, Jo Dullard. The excavation attracted national attention. For Deirdre's family, it represented another painful reminder that nearly 3 decades later, they were still waiting for answers. Yet once again, the search failed to uncover the breakthrough everyone had hoped for. Nearly 28 years have passed since Deirdre disappeared just steps from her own home. Thousands of investigative actions, countless interviews, repeated searches, and still, no body has ever been found. No one has ever been convicted. The mystery remains one of Ireland's most haunting, unsolved cases. Nearly 3 decades have passed. Children who weren't even born when Deirdre Jacob disappeared are now adults. Technology has transformed criminal investigations. DNA science has advanced dramatically. Digital forensic techniques have solved cases once believed impossible. Yet somehow, the mystery of Deirdre Jacob remains unsolved. Her family has lived through years of hope, disappointment, and unanswered questions. Every new search brings the possibility of closure, and every unsuccessful search forces them to continue waiting. In recent years, Gardaí have repeatedly stated that this investigation is still active. Detectives continue to review evidence, re-examine witness statements, and follow up on new information whenever it emerges. Authorities have also urged anyone who may have withheld information for years to finally come forward, emphasizing that even the smallest detail could make a difference in solving the case. For Deirdre's parents, the passage of time has never changed one thing. They still want answers, not speculation, not rumors, just the truth about what happened to their daughter on that summer afternoon in July 1998. One ordinary walk home, a distance of only a few hundred meters. And then, silence. No confirmed eyewitness has ever explained exactly what happened. No physical evidence has publicly revealed where Deirdre went. No court has ever held anyone responsible. Her disappearance remains one of Ireland's most enduring unsolved mysteries. Cases like this remind us that behind every headline is a real family. A family that never stopped hoping. A family that still waits for the phone call that may never come. Someone, somewhere, knows what happened to Deirdre Jacob. Whether that person has remained silent out of fear, loyalty, or guilt, only they know. But history has shown that secrets don't always stay hidden forever. Sometimes, the smallest memory, the smallest conversation, or the smallest overlooked detail can finally unlock the truth. Until that day comes. The disappearance of Deirdre Jacob remains an open wound in Ireland's history, and a mystery that refuses to be forgotten. If you found this case as fascinating and heartbreaking as I did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more in-depth, true crime documentaries every week. And now, I'd like to hear your opinion. What do you think happened to Deirdre Jacob? Do you believe someone close to the case knows more than they've ever admitted? Or do you think the key piece of evidence has simply never been discovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every comment, and your perspective might lead to an interesting discussion. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next case.